Hello and welcome to our Athens City County Health Department Health Education Podcast. This is Ward Bryson coming to you out of Health Education at ACCHD. If you've listened to us before, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. Our past few episodes have been concerned with heart health, as last month was Heart Health Awareness Month. We will be changing tack for any further episodes. Some may be themed more with that kind of like month by month health focus, but others may be related to smaller events or just be out of the blue. So it'll be a new thing each week. This week is AmeriCorps week, and given that many of the people that have been on this podcast and yours truly are serving AmeriCorps members, we thought that we would talk to the coordinator of our program, COMCorps, Eric Long, to come in and tell us about AmeriCorps, what it is, what's great about it, and also about COMCorps specifically. Eric, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Eric Long. I am the program manager of the COMCorps AmeriCorps program, housed here at the Ohio University Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Okay. Now can you tell us about yourself? What's your favorite color? What do you like? Give us a little personal twinge. Come on, Eric.
Favorite color is blue. I was a geography major, so I love to travel, whether that's abroad or domestically. I enjoy the outdoors, hiking, backpacking, and I have a Labrador retriever named Ollie that I love and adore.
Okay.
And he goes on all of our trips.
Excellent. How did you come to be the coordinator of this program?
So I started out in the summer camp world culture, and that was my jobs during college, and then got hired on at Camp Odeoqua, which is owned by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Ohio. And worked there for a few years, coordinating the summer camp and the environmental education programs in the spring and the fall. I wanted to move back to Athens, so I then took a job with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Athens County, and I coordinated the community-based programs here for 5 years, the traditional matching of adults with youth, a lot of OU students. And COMCorps, our AmeriCorps program, had a member placed at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Athens. So I was a site supervisor and filled in for those roles, and shared an office with a COMCorps member for 4 or 5 years. And then in 2015, the COMCorps program expanded, and they were hiring on additional staff. So Lauren Borovica, the previous program manager, reached out and encouraged me to apply, and I did, and started out as the member coordinator for 24 members within the COMCorps program. And my role has changed and evolved since 2015, and now currently I'm the program manager of the program. Okay,
great. So was your first experience with any AmeriCorps when you were a supervisor and serving alongside those COMCorps members?
Funny story, one of my best friends in college, his name was Roger. He actually did the COMCorps program when we graduated. I didn't know what AmeriCorps was. I should have done a year of service because I didn't quite know what my direction in my professional career was going. AmeriCorps would have been a great experience to kind of follow and figure things out. So Roger, he was an AmeriCorps member at Amesville Elementary within the program. And that was my first interaction with COMCorps. And then again with Big Brothers Big Sisters when I was there at the Athens agency.
Okay, great. So we've talked a lot about how you got into COMCorps and your connections to AmeriCorps in general. Can you tell our listeners what COMCorps is?
Sure. So we're a national service program affiliated with AmeriCorps in general, which is celebrating 28 years of national service as AmeriCorps, what we know of it now. AmeriCorps has been around for a long time in different forms of national service, starting out with Volunteers in Service to America and the CCC, back when that started. But COMCorps has been around for 23 years, give or take, if we count our planning grant year. And we've always been housed here at Ohio University Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine. We started with just a handful of members doing lice screenings and vision screenings within the local school districts, because that was the public need 23 years ago. The program's evolved over that time. There was a good 9-year chunk where our mission was to reduce childhood obesity rates. So we had a lot of members placed within the local school districts in Athens and Washington County. At one point we had 24 members serving in Southeast Ohio. And 3 years ago, our program evolved again to more broad community health and wellness. So the longevity of our program exists because we've been able to adapt and change to the community needs. And that's really what AmeriCorps is. It's to fill the gaps where service needs done. AmeriCorps can kind of fill those gaps with members.
Okay. So you said the initial mission was more about lice and reduction of that situation, and then it kind of shifted into obesity. Where are we now with the COMCorps mission, and how is that kind of deliberated and decided?
Yep. We have a 3-year grant cycle, so our official logic model and mission can change every 3 years. But ours did so kind of organically. Even though we were doing childhood obesity, we were adding some sites and placements into our portfolio that were more kind of broad, holistic approach to community health and wellness. So that's what our logic model is now. We really focus a lot on the social determinants of health. So we have members placed in government agencies like the Health Department, Athens County Board of Developmental Disabilities. We still have members in the schools doing some school health like Nelsonville, York, and Athens City Schools. We're going to have members at Tri-County Career Center next year. And then a lot of our members are placed within nonprofits like Women for Recovery, Serenity Grove, Live Healthy Appalachia, Community Food Initiatives, Rural Action, and even in some healthcare systems like Hopewell Health Centers. So we really kind of tackle community health and wellness from many different angles, where some of our members are focusing on food and food insecurity. Some are going the reducing isolation and like social emotional kind of programming. We have some with substance use and public health, our members in the health department. So we say about 80% of the time members spend directly at their service site, and they have a specific site supervisor that they report to for their daily, weekly kind of service schedule. And then our members are 20% of the time they're allowed to help each other out. Our core, COMCorps specifically, focuses on that togetherness, that camaraderie that we have. So the members can help each other out at all of their sites. And our host sites really like that program structure, because if they have an event or if they need a lot of volunteers, our core can mobilize and all 17 or 23 members can get things done.
Okay, so there's a lot of collaboration in COMCorps, which I know firsthand being a COMCorps member, and like you mentioned, a COMCorps member in public health at the health department. That is me, for our listeners. We are also joined by our sound tech, Logan, who is at Nelsonville Schools as a service member. How much opportunity is there? Because I know there are other corps and other AmeriCorps roles and service members in the area. How much opportunity is there for extra corps collaboration?
Like outside of COMCorps?
Yes. So like, I know there's the Rural Action Corps.
Yes.
And there's some collaboration. I know we have our own member at Rural Action.
Correct.
So I'm sure that Jordan, that's our member, gets a lot done with our other Rural Action members. But what can you speak to any collaborations between corps or with vistas in the area?
Yep. We do have to follow like what we write in our grant that our members are serving on. We have grant reporting measures and things like that. But you are correct. Rural Action has a core of about 30 members. There are some Vista members placed in a lot of nonprofit agencies here in Athens County. They do more kind of behind the scenes capacity building. And we definitely partner with some of our AmeriCorps sibling corps whenever we have maybe a professional development or a training opportunity. 10 to 20% of AmeriCorps service hours has to be training and development. So we just went on a retreat with the Rural Action Appalachian Ohio Restore Corps last week, where we did a service project at Camp Odioqua in the Hocking Hills. So we got to meet and mingle with service members from their corps. We also invited some of the Vista members in the area to that retreat. Each corps has its own focus and logic model. Serve Ohio is the state commission for our state, and about 60 to 70% of their portfolio and their members focus more on educational type of programming, a lot of Ohio Reading and Math Corps, college prep kind of corps, things like that, where we're in the COMCorps specifically is in the Healthy Futures realm. So that's where our community health and wellness initiatives fall into. Okay,
that makes sense. This kind of brings us around to the broader AmeriCorps question, which is appropriate for AmeriCorps Week. We've talked about vistas and state national corps, and you mentioned the Civilian Conservation Corps, which I guess the immediate successor of that is the NCCC. Mm-hmm. Can you explain what all these different terms mean to our listeners and like what the different types of quote-unquote AmeriCorps are?
Yeah, so COMCorps is a state national program. That's what when you think of AmeriCorps, that's where most of the programs are going to fall into. Generally, if you're a state national program, you can have a corps of anywhere from 5 to 500 members. Ohio's largest corps, I think, is around 140. Some states like Minnesota has a giant 1,000-member corps, and they have members spread out across the whole state. COMCorps is specifically here in Athens County. Some corps, Appalachian Ohio Restore Corps, they serve all of Southeast Ohio. So these are all the state national programs, and like the ones that I mentioned, Ohio Reading and Math Corps. You're correct, there is NCCC. They are usually more out west, but we do have some. They're regional. They have home base maybe in a city, but then they get deployed to help out with outdoor projects, forest restoration, trail maintenance, things like that. That's its own kind of separate stream within AmeriCorps. There is Vista, used to be Volunteers in Service to America, and then it came under the AmeriCorps umbrella 27 years ago. And like I mentioned, they're not part of a core of members. They're more one-off placements in local nonprofits or agencies. And then there's also AmeriCorps Seniors, which is for older individuals who want to serve later in their life. COAD here in Athens coordinates the AmeriCorps Seniors program for Southeast Ohio, and they actually have like hundreds of volunteers. COAD is usually one of the top 10 agencies in the entire country for AmeriCorps volunteers. That often gets overlooked kind of here, and a lot of people don't know that in Athens County, but they have like foster grandparents program, RSVP, individuals going into the schools and tutoring and working with kids, providing transportation services to folks here in Athens County. So there's many different streams. Each stream of service has its own set of benefits and restrictions. So if you want to do national service, we can usually find a stream of service that they're looking for.
Okay. And you did mention Senior Corps, but it is definitely possible for people of all ages to serve with COMCorps, yes?
Correct. We've had a 75-year-old member in our Corps who did 2 years of service with COMCorps. Sometimes they're retired and have some flexibility to just give back and serve. Each program also has different like time commitments. We are a 1,700 hour program on 10.5 or 11.5 month terms, but every Corps can pick and choose if they want 1,700 hour terms, 900 hour terms, 600, 425, and then the benefits kind of go along with that. So sometimes we have individual members in our Corps that maybe they have kids and the kids are now in school or in college, and maybe that parent is re-entering the workforce, but they want to gain some experience before entering the professional kind of workforce. So we've gotten members joining AmeriCorps in that regard. But the minimum requirement to be able to serve in AmeriCorps is that you're 17 and have a high school diploma or a GED.
Okay. So it's largely accessible to all kinds of people.
Correct.
Great. We're going to pause for a second again. Logan, you have to cut all of this. Logan, you're my favorite COMCorps member. You're Eric's favorite COMCorps member too. Right, Eric?
Correct.
Whoa, that's a pretty dull ringtone. We should like sing it. Logan, you're my favorite COMCorps.
Do, 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 do.
I still want to sing it though. I'm thinking of we should touch on benefits in a second, but yeah, we'll do benefits, and we can do some like tell me all the memories you have of COMCorps that make you weep in joy at night, you know. We'll do that at the end though. Okay. So in terms of people joining COMCorps or any AmeriCorps program, if you want to speak more broadly, what sort of incentives or benefits are there for being a member of AmeriCorps?
Yep. So all programs, if they're serving in a full-time capacity, which is usually at least about 32 hours per week, they get offered a living stipend. Currently this year it's set at $16,000, but we'll be increasing that by a bit for next year. It'll be at least 17, hoping for mid 18,000 for that living stipend. Members get that distributed semi-monthly, so the 15th and last day of each month. If they have any federal student loans, they qualify for forbearance while in service. So if they're a recent graduate, it's just pushing the pause button on paying those back. A year of service also counts towards the public service student loan forgiveness program. So members, if you do 10 years of public service, your federal student loans get forgiven, and AmeriCorps will pay off interest that accrues during that AmeriCorps forbearance at the end of their term, so members still don't have to pay the interest on their student loans. We also offer health insurance to our members, so if needed while in service, they get put on the AmeriCorps health insurance plan. And we also offer an education award. So once a member successfully completes their 1,700 hours of service, they'll receive a $6,495 education award. And it's good for up to 7 years, so members can use it to pay off any current federal student loan debt or for any future educational expenses. And members also can qualify for some other government type of benefits like the SNAP food assistance program. The living allowance doesn't count as earned income in regards to qualifying for SNAP. And we also do like mileage reimbursements for travel during COMCorps service time, and 10 to 20% of members' hours again is professional development and training. So we encourage members to get certifications, things that will develop their skill sets for their next step.
Okay. Eric, you've been very informative through this conversation. I really appreciate that. We're going to end this conversation with just a couple of softball, feel good, tell me about what you really love about COMCorps and AmeriCorps questions, okay? Very simply, what do you love about COMCorps?
I love the members. Every year during orientation, I do all of the behind the scenes, like interviewing and hiring. And then my favorite time every year is I've seen all the moving parts leading up to orientation, and then that day one or the first time that they're all together and they sit down in a room. I don't know, it just makes me smile every time I go home later on in that evening, knowing that this room full of people who signed up for service are going to be creating lifelong friendships and are going to be getting things done together, enjoying each other's company in service and out of service. We were just in my office, and I have a bulletin board full of pictures from all of the corps over the year, and Ward and Logan, we're looking at them, and they're a part of the COMCorps history, and it really is just the members. Sometimes the members call me their boss, but I'm not their boss. They're more my boss. I'm here to support them throughout their entire service, and that's the reason why I'm here, is to help them get things done.
Well said. And more specifically, do you have any specific memories that you have of serving with the Corps, or maybe at an orientation or a retreat at some point, that really call to mind why you do the work in the service that you do?
Oh, I think it's all the random events and activities sometimes that our Corps is a part of. I will come home and talk to my partner, my friends, and I'll just laugh and be like, I was picking sweet potatoes today, or digging up sweet potatoes, and that's part of my job because that's what my members are out there doing, or doing some life screenings, or bus driver physicals, and sometimes just the random community health and wellness initiatives that our Corps gets done, I get to be a part of. Going out to the Chester Hill Produce Auction and the Athens Farmers Market and the veggie van. It just feels good.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today, Eric. We really appreciated having you on. You taught us so much about AmeriCorps, and we are AmeriCorps members. I can only imagine the level that you've gotten our listeners to, many of whom probably don't know a whole lot about AmeriCorps other than the intro that I throw into these episodes every week. So thank you again. We really appreciated having you. I hope you had a good time talking to us.
Of course. Thank you, Ward, and happy AmeriCorps week.
Happy AmeriCorps week. All right, and we hope that all of you tune back in next week to hear our next episode. Thanks for listening, and have a good rest of AmeriCorps week.